gamers, Romans, countrymen, welcome. My name is Texas_Grandma, and I am here to right a great wrong within the Kingdom Hearts community. The fact that we do not have tutorial documentation for Ventus Beginner Any % for Birth by Sleep. Couple disclaimers before I start. I am live on stream right now, and probably no one's here yet, so this is pointless, but fuck it, I'm gonna say it. Probably not gonna be super active with chat on doing this, assuming there are people to chat with. I'll take questions at the end, I guess, but I'm mostly trying to just get this done. Second of all, shout out to Pestilist. I'm basically just plagiarizing from him on this one. This game has a lot of randomness in its speedrun. That's like the entire identity of this game as a speed game. A video tutorial can only show so much. I will be able to discuss the things you should be thinking about during your runs, and during certain boss fights. I will not be able to demonstrate every possible way a fight can go. For some fights, it's effectively infinite. I will be able to point you in the right direction. The rest will have to come from experience. And another disclaimer, and the person who asked about this probably knows this already, but just in case, Toyopod, goddamn right. What's up, Skull? Yeah, just, hopefully people getting into speedrunning for the first time will see this too. That would be nice. Do not, when you're initially learning a run, aggressively reset an early game. Or at all, even. Because this run is so random, a big part of being good at it is being able to roll with the punches when things stop going your way. And the best way to do that is to just not reset runs. So, doesn't matter how bad your RNG is, just power through. Just do it. Just start finishing runs. Once you get, start getting, sub-hour, sub-55 minutes or whatever, then maybe you can start resetting to, shimmering crystal RNG or whatever. But you want to be finishing runs. And with all of that preamble out of the way, time does not start until you select a character, but you do want to make sure all of this initial menuing stuff is in the run. Vibration is personal preference. We're on beginner mode, obviously. You want to skip the introduction. Excuse me. I guess fourth disclaimer, I'm coming off of a cold and I have a bit of a cough. I apologize in advance. Yeah, time again starts upon confirming character, so there. And quick note about cutscene skips. As soon as that spinning heart in the corner goes away, you can skip most cutscenes in this game, so that's a timing you can learn, get really good at. Saves more time than you probably think. Orbs is very random. Can open with a 11 count shot lock. If you do 12 or 13, that's fine too, but if you end up doing 10, you're gonna get shortchanged. I like to go for physical combos on this second wave here. I'm getting a little screwed right now, but generally you would want to just take out all of that second wave with physical combos. And you want to be on this end of the room when the third wave spawns in, because hopefully, if they cooperate with you, you can knock two orbs together with a quick blitz like that. I'm gonna go for a strike rate, which is a bit of an unusual option. Yeah, orbs are very random. That is more or less what you want to go for. You want to open with that shot lock. You want to try and do that quick blitz setup if they'll let you. And then you want to skip some cutscenes. And besides, that's a lot of just improvising. Just do what you can. Use your shot lock or whatever. Quick note about skipping tutorials. Just skipping through text prompts like these. You generally want to be mashing your circle button. Or it may be X if you're on JP for some reason. Most people run this on English. Whatever like your jump button or your back button is, you want to mash that. If you mash X when you have like these multi-page tutorial boxes, then you'll flip through the pages. You'll see on page 1 if I hit circle, I just automatically advance it. And with a couple of exceptions that you will eventually learn, all of those text boxes can be advanced with circle. So that's a habit you want to get into. And then you want to go to Dwarf Woodlands. Skip the cutscene. Head right into the mines. Skip the cutscene, thank you. And now we go into the dwarf hunt, as I like to call it. And you're on a cycle here as soon as you enter. Ideally, you want to be able to catch a minecart before it like leaves a certain corner of the room. You might not get it, which isn't the end of the world, but you are like on a timer here. Besides, you know, the speedrun timer. You want to dodge roll forward 3 times, jump, grab the ledge, grab this mini, and then you want to jump off this ledge and then go into your Aqua D-Link, just right on the D-pad, and triangle. And then you want to hit this flood and do a 11 count shot lock in order to get Grumpy out. And then you want to kill some floods. You want to see a D-Link drop, ideally. I didn't get it, which is fine. You want to use the finisher on Sneezy like as he's landing, because it's really easy for him to jump away from you. I'll talk more about D-Links a little bit later. Ultimately, you shouldn't go super hard trying to like fish for it. Like, you mostly want to just focus on the dwarves. I go for a couple of them in a couple of places where I need to build up my finisher anyways. And you can kind of see that I'm like Ventus sort of behind this crack on the floor. I didn't stop it at a great angle, but you want Ventus to be like slightly behind this crack on the floor, and that'll be a good position to hit this crate and destroy it without causing Doc, I think this one is, to run away. So there's a bit of a visual setup you can use. And this is the other spot where I'm gonna try and okay, hopefully I can attack some floods instead of the crates. Yeah, and I spent too long fishing for D-Link, so I missed that crate. Okay. This is bad. There's the minecart. Alright, so this went kind of bad. That's fine. This is gonna happen sometimes. You really want to see that D-Link drop. But I didn't get it. Where did the crate go? Alright. I probably should have finished that with a shot lock. But I thought the blizzard would do enough. Broski, what's up? Hello. I am doing a bit of a tutorial right now, so not looking super closely at chat, but I appreciate you being here. In any case, this is good. I got kind of screwed on D-Link RNG, so I can demonstrate how to like deal with that. Ideally, you will come out of that fight, and you'll see it later. There's a Powpoo fruit looking pop-up, and you just make sure you collect it, and then you'll get an aqua level, and that makes things a lot better. But you're going to replace Quick Blitz with Slide and Dash, and then you go to Arrow, tab down using your bumpers. They can tab around menus. Put Mini over Arrow. Yeah, just doing some movement. I haven't seen you in a while, Broski. Hope you've been well. I forgot a chest I need to get. I've been doing Ventus crit, and all the chest routing is very different. You need to roll behind this house, grab this fire, and if you do that movement normally, you'd be getting your sliding dash off a cooldown about now. Want to use it to dash into this loading zone. You do want to time your dodge rolls. If you mash them, you will lose inputs. You don't want that. You want to grab that shimmering chest. That's mandatory, basically. You need a lot of shimmering crystals, and the game doesn't like to give you any, so... Shit. And I should probably explain a little bit. So, after we talk to Snow White, you want to have your mini up. So Snow White is on a track, is basically how its escort works. She has a set path she wants to follow, and there are a couple of spots where she will be forced to stop and wait for the spooky trees, which we expect and we know how to deal with. And she will also stop if any of these regular enemies are in her path, which we don't want. So we use mini. We walk over the flood first, and then we take care of the scrapper. And then we want to try and make sure these... you want to make sure you get rid of those chilies, they're called, I believe. And then you... I didn't quite... The chilies got a little weird, so I wasn't able to get quite the angle I wanted, but you do want to try and come at that scrapper from the side, rather than like behind Snow White, so that you get it out of her way faster, because again, if enemies are in her way... Okay, that was good. And you do want to delay that, I'm gonna call them RCs, like you want to delay doing the white calm a little bit so that it hits the second tree. If you do it right away, then you'll have to do a second one, and that's slow. Use mini on those floods, as you saw, walk over them, do a full combo on this scrapper. I like to stop Snow White until her head starts to turn. It's just kind of the cue I use. And that allows us, again, to take out 2 trees with 1 RC. Use mini, stomp those guys. And I like to just, like, check the lay of the land behind me, because there used to be at least a couple enemies still alive. You don't want it to mess with you. But I did, just check, make sure that none of the scrappers are still coming after me. I like to use mini on those floods. You can't, like, do physical attacks. I think the mini is better, generally. And I like to roll until I'm at about this point of the terrain. And then I sliding dash from there. That gets me into the loading zone. And this is Matt Train. This fight gets pretty random. But the opening should be relatively consistent. You want to max out your shot lock, full 15. And then he'll usually do that shake attack, and you want to wait that out and do that exact combo setup I did. Sliding dash into 2 physical hits into strike rate. That will get you into fever pitch. And you want to try and get off a full combo. I'm going to wait to see. He did not DM again. If he did, I would have had to wait out that shot lock a bit more. Ideally, you would end the fight with that strike raid. My damage wasn't quite good enough. That's kind of an RNG thing. But the fever pitch finisher will usually finish. Yeah, that's more or less how you want the fight to go. It gets a little weird towards the end, and there's some improv and some, just reacting to how much health he has left, but, excuse me, generally that's how you want the fight to go, and that's how you should expect it to go. Just, make sure you don't accidentally shot lock while he's doing that move where he gets all swirly and dark, because he won't take any damage, and you'll be fine. Castle of Dreams. Castle of Dreams is bad, and no one likes it. Let's talk about it, I guess. Yeah, there's not as bad as crit, but it is bad. I like to do a slide dash over to this Moogle. It's not that necessary. But you come to the Moogle, you're going to sell your Quick Blitz, and you're going to sell the Mini. We do not need it anymore. You're going to buy 5 fires. I like to hold the up button, so that, like, try and time it to stop on 5. You can also just, tap the up button to the correct number of times like a normal person. Gonna buy that. You're gonna buy a cure. Gonna have this mouse hole. And then what I like to do coming into this room is I like to roll once directly to the right, and then I lock on, do 2 hits of a combo, and then I target switch, and then do my combo finisher. And that should kill one flood and knock the other one away, so that doesn't, like, go to attack you or go underground or anything. So it should look something like this. And then that lets you take care of them real quick, like. Come to about this point of the wall. I like to line myself up to be, like, a little bit to the right of the mortar here. Jump, lock on. Okay, I did that a little bit late. Okay, I have to retry this. That's fine. It's a tutorial. That works. I get to show off this actually in motion now. Okay, let's try that again. Lock on, and as you're starting to fall, you do an attack, gets you over the ledge. And now we're grabbing some stuff. This chest contains a fleeting crystal, grab it. And you want your Terra D-Link. Grab that ribbon, enter Terra, sliding dash, and then pause. And then you're going to equip Treasure Trove. I should mention, you do, like, specifically want to pause and, like, interrupt the sliding dash. Pausing the game, if it, like, takes you to the pause menu instead of just the generic pause screen, will, first of all, it'll kick you out of D-Links, which in this instance is favorable because we don't want to be in Terra D-Link anymore. And it'll also cancel you out of certain movement things like sliding dash, so that allows us to cancel the iframes, or the end lag of that, rather. So that is, like, an intentional thing. Equip 4 fires. Grab the button, and then we need to enter the Aqua D-Link. 1 full combo will take care of these floods. And now we're just gonna go for physical hits, because there's nothing else we can do, really. I'm gonna do a thunder here. And we're looking for that powerproof fruit-shaped drop, like I was talking about before. There it is. Very nice. You want to collect it, and then you want to revert, and then you want to get your D-Link back. Some enemies will give you orbs, some won't. You will have to learn. I'm just gonna take care of these guys like that. I got a shimmering drop. That's very nice. And I did get that, which is nice. Alright. Oh, that's all our shimmering drops we need. Alright, you want to grab this ribbon. You can kind of grab it at any time. Let's talk briefly about, now that we've sort of seen it in action, let's talk briefly about D-Link tech. So, we have seen a level up now. Those are good. We want those, most of the time at least. So that drop can only happen, it happens just randomly upon killing any enemy. It's completely determined by RNG. But once you've gotten it once during a single instance of a D-Link, you will not get one again. Which is why I made a point of reverting from Aqua and going back into the Aqua D-Link after I got that first level, because I wanted to level her up fully. So a big part of, like, being good at this kind of grinding stuff is being able to, like, drop out of the D-Link quickly, you know, refill it, and, you know, grab a level up if you need to, and then it's pointedly you want to grab the level up before you revert. If you accidentally revert before grabbing the level up, that feels real bad. Yeah, that is something that kind of just comes with practice. Just, you know, do attempts. You'll make mistakes. You'll learn. And I don't usually do this menu here, but just for the sake of simplicity, after you go through the room the first time, all these commands should be on level 2. And I like to tab down to cure an arrow, and then equip these 2 level 1 fires. And now that we have our Aqua D-Link leveled up, we want to try and level up some other D-Links. Grinding gets real simple once you have Aqua fully leveled up. You want to use Mind Square, actually, not Thunder. That was operator error. And then you basically, all 4 waves that spawn in this room, you want to do just Mind Square into Magnet. That'll take care of all of them. I don't know why my muscle memory's messed up with this. Okay, there's... And while you're doing this, you want to be on the lookout for any D-Link levels, and you want to try and get Snow White leveled up fully. Okay, and we are at level 6. We need to hit level 6 and change. That'll do. Okay, and this is all the D-Links we want at the moment. So, I don't think I should explain. So we want, ideally, coming out of this grind, we need our Aqua D-Link to be fully leveled up, all the way up to level 2. And it's not required, like we can deal with it later, but we would like to have Snow White also fully leveled to level 2, and we want 1 level is Terra. You don't want to level up Terra a second time, because we want Terra for movement, and the fully leveled up D-Link isn't good for movement. It's just 1 level, so we are currently all set with that. And we also ideally would like to see some Shimmering Crystal drops, which we got, which is very good. So we'll be able to go pretty fast. But if you don't get those, that's not the end of the world. Yeah, just quick explainer on that. Those are the D-Links that you want. And you want to have less than 110 experience, as you can see. Ideally, you don't have to pause to check that. You can if you really need to, starting out. Like, that's not the end of the world. But see, we're at next level 93, so we're a little over the experience level we need, which is perfectly fine. But when you're in Cinderella's room after grabbing that lace and ending like the dress collection segment of the world, you want to go to D-Link menu and switch Aqua's D-Link to the basic finisher. I'm not totally convinced that this is optimal at high level, but you should definitely be doing it starting out. It does make a lot of things a lot easier. Not that many things, but enough. Golly. Alright. And you will meld at least 1 fire. You'll meld 2 fires with at least 1 Shimmering Crystal, because you'll have 1 guaranteed from a chest. And if you have more, you will also meld those as well. Otherwise, do not meld the fires. Like, if you can only do 1 at this point, that's fine. You want to try and save it till later to try and fish for these shimmering drops later if you don't get them now. But I'm just going to make them all now because I can. And we're going to equip Sliding Dash, Strike Raid, and 2 Fires. And that is it. And we're going to go to the Moogle, and we're going to buy 4 sleeps. And now it is time for the Lucifer fight. Excuse me. Alright, and we're going to open this fight with a full shot lock. Just a small little thing that's helpful. You can buffer the shot lock input. You do shot locks by holding down R1. So I'm literally doing this entire cutscene. I'm just holding R1. Yeah, and you just do a full shot lock. You want to be mashing X. You don't have to mash X super hard, but you do want to mash X at least a little bit. And we're getting good RNG. So Lucifer, ideally, like after your shot lock, will run away to one of these pieces of furniture. There's 4 in the corners, and then there's 2 against the walls. And I'm not gonna pretend to have a perfect understanding of like how he decides to jump off, but generally I like to place a Mind Square if he's in one of these pieces in the corner. Then like I'll place the Mind Square at like a 45-degree angle from the corner. If that makes sense, that's generally where he'll try to jump to. Then I place a magnet as well. It just does some extra damage. Okay, we got kind of screwed here. Finisher will take it out though. And that's one of the reasons that you want the regular finisher, because the leveled up finisher takes a lot longer to start doing damage. It's not as good, like we want the fast damage. that's kind of the idea with Lucifer. Yeah, that like shelf is like not a great place for him to jump because it's a lot harder to like gauge where he's gonna fall. You kind of just like place the mine square like in a place and like hope it's good enough. Like there isn't a whole lot to it, I don't think. You kind of hope and pray. Anyways, we're Enchanted Dominion. I've done some slide and dash movement. I haven't really talked about it yet. Sliding dash is, generally speaking, the fastest form movement in this game. Specifically, sliding dash into an enemy or into like something that acts like a hitbox, because then you can dodge out of it, like I just did. And that is fast. So on the occasions where we have sliding dashes in our deck, we will be trying to use them just to shave some time off of our movement. And we will also be delaying using sliding dash sometimes in order to save it for a place where we can line it up with an enemy to cancel out of those lag frames. And of course, as we've seen a couple times, you can also sliding dash into a loading zone. That's also reasonably fast. But yeah, it's in, like I said, you want to time your dodge rolls. And you want to be hovering over Strike Raid going into this next fight, which should happen naturally. Like you are free to adjust your command deck as you see fit if you want to mess around with the order a little bit, find something that works better for you, but ultimately this early in the run I don't feel like there's a strong need for it. But just sort of talk about what just happened. You want to line yourself up with those goons so the strike rate takes both of them out, and then go immediately into Aqua and drop this mine square. You'll get very good at just dropping mine squares just by doing the run. I whiffed that blizzard, which isn't great. And you're just gonna use commands while the mine square takes care of those enemies on the other end. And then once the mine square is back, you want to drop it here and sort of head back to the other end of the arena here. Yeah, Blizzara is especially good for this fight because it has that sort of armor-piercing quality where it can hit multiple enemies at once. And I hit level 7, which is good. You want to hit level 7 for Maleficent. That's what the 110 to the next level number was about in grinding. Right out of that door, you want to use their sliding dash. Hit enemies. Cancel out lag frames, the same kind of shit. And the movement in this room is deceptively tricky. This used to trip me up a lot when I was first learning this category. You want to be real careful jumping over this gap. You really do not want to fall down. I'm going to play that a little safe. We want to take out both of those guys so that they don't mess up our sliding dash movement, which I do with Fyras. Even if you only have like a Fyra and a fire, because if you don't get to meld all your Fyras at once, even just like a fire, like a base fire with one fire boost will still take it out in one hit. So you want to take those guys out, grab your fleeting crystal, and then grab the tornado strike with the sliding dash. We have to wait for a cycle here anyway, so I like to kill one goon just because why not? Sliding dash sort of against the wall there to get the fancy sliding dash movement. Skip some cutscenes. And I like to have Fyras up going into Maleficent. When I was saying earlier that I should probably pause later into the cutscene. When I said earlier that there are fights that can go an infinite number of ways, this fight is kind of the poster child of that. There is a lot of different things Maleficent can decide to do in this fight, and you kind of just have to learn how to deal with all of it, or just learn it to get really good at improvising. But your opening will generally be the same. You want to dodge away from the middle, and she'll always teleport somewhere down here. Ideally, she teleports towards the middle, and you would do what I'm doing right now. So basically, the opening is always going to be she teleports somewhere on this lower level of the room, ideally in the middle, and then you're going to wait. You're going to wait for her teleport animation to end. You can't actually target her until like the teleport animation is completed, and you would just barely have enough focus to do 2 full shot locks, and you want to do 2 full shot locks. Excuse me. So basically, you do 1 full shot lock, and then she will probably teleport twice like this. And I'm gonna do a 2nd full shot lock. Thunder DM is another good opportunity to get in a full shot lock. And then I get to show something off here. You can get up here. Shut up. Okay, that didn't work. I was trying to interrupt her with the shot lock. And fire, take her out. Okay, I got to show off the one cool thing I really kind of was hoping I'd get to show off, which is that you can use sliding dash as a good movement option to get up close to her. Excuse me. So yeah, that's Maleficent. I'm gonna take a sip of water real quick. So once your focus is empty, once your shot lock is kind of done, you kind of don't have a choice but to go for physical hits. You want to use your fire res. You want to try and get into Firestorm, because that will be affected by your fire boosts, and you'll have at least one. And you want to just try and like get close to her, and get in like those commands, those physical Firestorm hits as much as possible. If she starts to say, "This is the end, behold the mistress of all evil," you want to try and shotlock her immediately, because then she'll do a big DM where she's actually invulnerable, which you don't want, but you can interrupt her if you hit her. Sliding dash is good for that also, potentially, situationally. She'll summon goons sometimes, and in that case, you probably just want to shotlock and try and take them out and get some damage in on her in the process. She'll usually only do that if she's in the middle. But yeah, you gotta just be able to roll with the punches. That's just kind of the whole thing. That's just how it be. Yeah, just thank God you're not trying to do their crit level 1 strats is all I can say. And very, very important menu. Do not forget this, like I like to do sometimes. While you're in space, before you enter Keyblade Graveyard, put on those 4 sleeps that you bought in Castle of Dreams. If you forgot to buy them, go back and buy them. It'll be faster than trying to do this fight without them. And we are going to Death Abuse this first part of Ventus. And he leaps back, which is the worst possible opening. If he leaps back, you want to just stand still, because if you don't stand still, that leaping attack he just did won't hit, and you want to get hit, and then you're just gonna go for empty hits, try to bait out teleports until you are dead, like so. And now you are going to roll directly forward and sleep. And you hope you get it on the first one. If you don't, it's not the end of the world. Do physical hits until you have your finisher, and then don't. Now you're just using sleep for basically the rest of the fight until the final hit. You can... 4 sleeps is pretty generous. You can use your sleeps as soon as they come off a cooldown. I like to delay them, because when Mickey does that, when he tries to do his team-up attack, which he will do at least once, like guaranteed, you can interrupt it with the sleep, and then he goes back to doing his job, which is DPS. And then I could have played a little bit safer and done another sleep, but I decided to just go for the finisher. You see the finisher basically when he has a sliver of health left, and then that'll kill, because Mickey can't actually deal the final blow. That was a pretty good fight. It's not terribly hard in beginner. You know, he can decide to teleport out of your sleeps, which is annoying, but you just kind of... Like, as long as you don't die, like, if he's being staggered by an attack or if he's in the middle of doing his own attack, it's usually not too bad getting him asleep. We are going to roll over here. We are going to use, Sleepy, actually, not... okay, it worked out. So you want to use, Sleepy, not, Sneezy, like I did. And then you want to use Grumpy, which is Treasure Raid. And you want to do that until you get an Abounding Crystal, like I just did. Then you want to come over here and you want to leave the world. And I'm going to show you... First of all, I did not have full D-Link when I left the world. Now I have full D-Link again. So worst case scenario, if you run out of D-Link trying to get an Abounding, if the game decides to be just extremely mean to you, you can leave the world, come back, and, like, you'll want to probably try and get your bounty again on these mandrakes here. The bounty drop is pretty common, though. It really should not troll you that hard. But yeah, leaving the world and returning will get your D-Link back. Which shouldn't really be relevant in this run, but, you know, that's a thing about how Birth by Sleep works. It's good to know. So, yeah, you, specifically in Radiant Guardian, you don't want to go up the staircase at, like, the castle entry, because that triggers a cutscene that will cause enemies to spawn in that room, and then you can't access the save point. It's a whole thing, so just don't. Just leave by the save point, come here, enter the shop, and that Tornado Strike we are gonna sell it. You will probably have some binds, from, the grinding earlier. You can sell those. You can sell your sleeps, don't need them anymore. You need a minimum of 1680 money, which we have currently. On the off chance that you don't have enough, you will hopefully have some item drops like these. You can sell these. What you can't sell is basically everything I have currently. So you can't sell your Sly Industrial Strike Road. You can't sell your Firers. In all likelihood, you'll have some base Firers as well. You probably won't get 3 Shimmerings for Lucifer, so you can't sell those either, because you need to meld them to fire eventually. And you can't sell your Cura Arrow. Everything else is fair game, so get to 1680 money, and then hit the touchpad. I don't know if I mentioned that last time I was in the shop, but you can hit the touchpad, switch between buying and selling. Good for optimizing your menus. Tap down, so R1 up to Binding Strike, buy 3 of those. R1 up to Magnet, and buy 4 of those. And then you're going to dodge roll towards the mouse hole, going to meld your Slide and Dash and your Strike Raid with, I almost did with the Fleeting, that's the wrong muscle memory. You want to meld with the Bounding, actually, that's the whole reason we got it, even. That gives you Payback Raid, hit Circle to get a tutorial, edit your deck, you want 3 Binding Strikes, and tab down to Magnet, and just equip any 2 magnets, like the order doesn't matter, and then yeah, up, and then you want to tab down to Payback Raid. And now we enter our second grinding split. And so I was talking earlier about how there are some D-Links you want to have coming out of Castle of Dreams the first time, but you don't need them. You need the Aqua D-Links, but you don't need the other ones. You do need all your D-Links you're going to have for the run coming out of this grind. So if you didn't manage to get your Snow White levels or your Terra level during the last grind, you will want to get them at some point during this grind. The Terra one you can make do without. The Snow White one is mandatory. You do need to hit fully leveled Snow White. But if, and I already have those already, if I didn't have those, then I would wait to get those D-Link drops until I have fully leveled up the Mickey D-Link. The Mickey D-Link is the priority because we need that fully leveled up to take advantage of the double experience passive that it has. So what you're going to do is you're going to start off doing your same Mind Screen to Magnet stuff. That is very good luck. And because there are no things to collect, I'm going to do that. Until you get your second Mickey level, there isn't a great way to deal with that wave in particular. And that's a fully leveled up Mickey. Very good. And once Mickey is fully leveled up, you can do... oh, nice Ignite. I don't need that in this route. Nice Fleeting, too. We do want those, actually. And then I got real good at this grind doing Ven Beginner No Menu stuff, so I can get rid of most of these waves without using Sign of Faith. If you find yourself needing to use Sign of Faith after these Mind Shields to finish wiping out the waves, that is perfectly fine. That is always an option. But you want to just go around the room like this, and you want to be... Generally speaking, you are going to be looking for shimmering drops at this point. I am in an extremely advantageous position that I do not need to look for them. We have just finished our third pass through the room, excuse me, which means our commands are leveled up enough that we can meld them and then start leveling up the new commands. You can put that off until about the point that Ventus hits level 15 in my testing. So just for purposes of demonstration, I'm going to delay my menu for one more room. So yeah, there's level 15. So you want to leave the room. And then this is where I normally menu when I'm doing menus during grinding, is here. That's not right. So we want to meld. If you haven't melded all your firers yet, you would finish doing that now. And if you have shimmerings, you will use them. If you don't, that is fine, as long as you are not going for a high level time. Again, you should not be resetting to that kind of stuff. Excuse me. But ideally, you'll have shimmerings. So you will meld your fires together. You'll have 3 firers at the end of it, as I do already. And you can also meld Cure and Arrow with a Fleeting. That gives you a Cura with Attack Haste. Strictly speaking, it probably would have been better to not meld, just because I could have melted those later. But this is such an uncommon scenario, already having all the firers melded, that it's probably doesn't even merit to mention. So you're gonna equip... I like to do it the way I just did, just because that ends up generally being better for menuing. You start up here, you tap down, and that should take you directly to your level 1 magnet. Then you just go up, equip your 3 firers, and then we finish grinding. I used the wrong D-Link. That's annoying. Alright, let me just reset the room. My muscle memory is all weird. And now you continue grinding with Mickey until you hit level 18. And if you want to be safe, maybe some change. There's a specific trick that you may decide not to do to save your hands later, in which case you may want to do some extra grinding, just, to save your hands at the risk of being a little less optimal. I'll cover that a little more once we're talking explicitly about that. Also, something worth noting, you do want to wait to revert until all the enemies that are gonna die from your mind shields have died. Once you revert, you are no longer getting the double HP buff. Okay, and that's level 18 and some change too, so now we can leave. And that's what we're gonna do, we're gonna leave. Because we have high jump, we can jump straight up to this ledge, skip all these ledge grabs, which is very, very nice. And leave. Yep, we're heading to front doors. And we avoided triggering this cutscene before, gotta make sure we do it now, otherwise we can't progress the story, and that wouldn't be very good now, would it? And we are just doing some movement. Excuse me. Not a whole lot to talk about here. Feels weird not doing grinding here because I've been doing vent crit so much. There's a big grind in this room, but we just run right through, which is very nice. All our setup for the run is basically done with that grind. You do want to do a full hop into these water spouts that hopefully avoid a ledge grab. That should have worked. And then you want to enter your Terra D-Link. If you want to be safe, just like walk over to this corner, enter Terra, full hop, sliding dash, fastest way to get through that room. And then we do want our D-Link back. I try to position myself in such a way that this fire will kill both of those floods. That was very nice. 2 jumps should get you up those pipes. And we want to do a little bit more grinding here before we get into Trinity Armor. We want to sort of position this magnet kind of close to the ledge. And use Sign of Faith. Same here, Magnet, Mickey. And you don't actually have to revert after this one. You do want to collect these D-Link orbs. Come over here, Sign of Faith. Once they're dead, revert. Grab your orbs. And then once your command deck turns blue, you gotta mash through. I don't think I've mentioned it before, but when you get these auto ability pop-ups, those are some of the few pop-ups you need to clear with X. So, you know, something you'll figure out on your own through trial and error, surely. But, yeah, that's the thing. You're melding your binding strikes with your Phyros, and any fleetings you may have. I don't think I've mentioned it, but you do generally, when you're melding, want to hit the triangle button. It'll hold all the commands that aren't meldable, which obviously saves you menuing time. And then you're melding your magnets, and if you have fleetings left over, you will meld those too. We are going to be short a magic haste for this one, which is fine. You need the attack haste more than you need magic haste. And I like to set the menu up, or this deck, this way. It allows me to have my Magnera shortcutted without having to go out of my way to actually, like, reset the shortcut itself. Just ends up being a little cleaner. And you want to be hovering Fire Surge, ideally, going into Trinity Armor. Trinity Armor is a big, scary fight in a lot of categories. This is not one of them. We will absolutely destroy this thing. Generally, you want to open by dodge rolling forward. You want to Fire Surge, ideally so you're hitting both the legs and the arms. And you want to be doing physical combos, trying to build up your finisher. Payback Raid will also do that. And that was very good. And you generally will just take out the arm. It goes down pretty quick, as you can see. Head has pretty low, or it's pretty high HP, which is not really what you want to see. So I'm going to delay using the finisher a little bit. Okay, that was not a great ending to the fight. Generally, the head takes a little more damage than that. That was interesting. But, yeah, that's more or less how you want the fight to go. Your damage is so high that that fight ends up being relatively consistent. Let me sip some water real quick. Yeah, I would have liked to get some more physical combos in the first phase, but I got hit out of them. It's fine, it happens. Don't worry too much about it. Ultimately, like, as long as you are using your Firestorm finishers more or less what I used them, then that fight should go just fine. Just doing some movement, as one does. And then we got some fancy D-Link movement coming up. You want to do 3 dodge rolls into Terra D-Link to snap to the ground. And hopefully those sliding dashes will actually hit. I'm not going to revert, actually, because we don't need any more D-Link at this point, or we need little enough D-Link that we can afford to just burn it instead of wasting the time reverting. Okay, this force fight is a little bit specific. So I'm going to try and break it down. So this initial wave of floods is pretty simple, actually, as it turns out. You're going to magnet, jump, and hit, and that should kill all of them. And then you want to do a full shot lock. And we want to do the shot lock finisher just enough to kill the next wave, and no more, because if we do more, then we will start to hit the wave that comes after. And that will mess that up a lot. We don't want that. So what I do is if I feel like playing risky, I will hit the X button 8 times in order to do like 8 pumps of the finisher. I would recommend starting out playing a little more safe and doing 7, and then worst case scenario, just have to clean up some of the blue guys that are left over. Yeah, like that. And like that, apparently. Then you're gonna go into Aqua, you're gonna be in the middle, you're gonna Mind Square and Magnet, revert. And ideally that will kill, but if it doesn't, you can just do Fire Surge into the last Magnet, and that'll take care of the rest. Yeah, that's a little bit RNG based on whether or not, like, the enemies go into your magnet fast enough. Like, just do what you can. Fire Surge into that loading zone so you don't have to fall all the way. It saves you a little bit of time. Some more D-Link movement. You should have full D-Link after that fight, ideally. Just want to position, like, with this, like, to be behind this diamond on the ground a little bit, and then you want to do a slide dash, 2 more dodge rolls slightly to the left of this line. And that should get both of your sliding dashes to connect and get you through the room pretty fast. And that's Radiant Garden. And now we are heading to Disney Town. Obligatory. Just getting it out of the way. Luckily we don't have to do any crazy sequence breaks to get super glide or nothing like we have to do in Crit. Like, we are doing Ice Cream Beat, and then we are getting the hell out of here. You do want to make sure your command deck is over Magnet, so you can use it immediately in the next force fight. Excuse me. There is some potential optimization here if you're really good at getting excellence.
Here we go!
Because the shorter the Tower of Ice Cream is at the end, the shorter the like camera panning out to look at the whole thing is. And that saves like an extremely minimal amount of time, but I like have a background as a percussionist, so I feel like I have something to prove, so I usually like go for it. I'm not gonna be able to get it this time. I'm gonna have to just go ham to make sure I get enough points. The more important thing is that you want to have more than like 1050 points, but less than 1400, I believe, is the threshold to get like an excellent rating instead of good or whatever they call them. So we're just gonna sandbag at this point. And then that'll give you a shorter, like, voice line at the end here.
Okay, not bad.
Yeah, cool is what you want. If you get the other one, then they say, whack-a-rooney, and it takes like 5 years. You don't want that. Get that shit out of here. So that's Disney Town. Over and done with. Wash your hands of it. And this is, that text box that just clears one of the ones you need to use X for. Fun fact. Alright, and OC Force Fight. You're going to open with a magnet, which should catch... okay, I meant to do a Fire Surge. That was kind of silly. I jinxed this up a little bit. I want to do a Fire Surge instead of a magnet. Okay, the next waves are spawning, so I guess I'm just gonna keep doing magnets into Fire Surges. This is a little weird, but it's like, whatever. As long as the next waves are spawning, you can just do this. And the waves will always spawn in the same place. Okay, and that caught the bird, so the bird will definitely die. You don't actually want to pop that magnet. I let my, crit level 1 muscle memory take over. Like, as soon as you kill that big wave that has the bruiser in it, you just wanna let the shot lock fly. So you'll do a full shot lock, and then you'll do a partial shot lock if you feel like playing a little bit risky. Like, you can just do a full shot lock, and on the off chance that that a partial shot lock wouldn't have killed, the full shot lock definitely will. But anyways, now we're going into the barrel minigame. Disney Town derogatory? Absolutely. So we do actually have to do earns kind of fast as a silly thing. For this first one, we need to hit 15 points. It doesn't matter if Rick beats us, as long as we're at 15, the game progresses. And then we are coming into the corner here. And we are going to do something called stutter stepping, which I'll explain a little more thoroughly in the next segment, because this is almost done. We hit level 21 already, which is pretty good. Yeah, you know how we have experience walker on? Yeah, we can literally just grind experience during this auto-scroller, it's great. This is something I was saying earlier, like something you may want to like do to not ruin your hands. There are definitely ways to do this that won't ruin your hands, but I can understand if you wouldn't want to try. So you can. Okay. Herc is being mean. You really don't want Herc. Okay. Yeah, urns are dumb. They're dumb in pretty much every context in cage speedrunning. And Birth by Sleep is no different. Okay, I'm gonna try and hit Herc with that barrel just because I can. Yeah, we want to have a lead on Herc. Okay. That's the second barrel he's grabbed. That's really bad, actually. Fortunately, our experience is, like, decent, so hopefully it won't matter too much, but, yeah, our score is really... Herc is really putting up a fight. This is really bad, actually. We're, like, basically tied a minute in. That's extreme. He is being extremely mean right now. Okay, maybe I'll show off stutter stepping before the meta fight, because apparently I'm gonna have a huge experience deficit. Because I can't go do the stutter stepping yet. I don't have enough of a lead. Okay, we're starting to gain on him now. Okay, that is probably fine. Alright, so the way I do this... first of all, like, if you're gonna try and do this safely, like, you should probably find a way to mash the left stick that uses, like, your arm rather than your finger. You want to be using the bigger muscles. And, like, if you're just trying to, like, waggle your finger, then you're gonna hurt yourself. But if you're using your whole arm, that's a bigger muscle. It can handle the strain a little more. Basically, I put the right stick, the camera stick, like, mostly to the left, and I'm mashing the left stick, the control stick, into, like, the bottom right, like, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. And that's more or less how that works. And hopefully you get enough experience. And hopefully Herc isn't as mean to you as he was to me just then, because that was not great. He was really putting up a fight. This fight. Okay, I got hit out of that Magnus, and I have to use some fire surges to get my damage in. Yeah, this fight is just kill count. You just gotta kill a certain number of. I'm gonna do some actually walking around actually to try and make up for my experience deficit. Okay, experience is in a decent spot actually. Like if you're under like. If you're around 700, that should be fine. Yeah, that's OC. There's not a whole lot to it. Honestly, like, once you get the magnets, like, force fights become a lot simpler because you have actual crowd control. I'm going to talk about this, even though it doesn't matter, but I care about it. So I'm about to attempt to demonstrate something I call game skip. Because no one else has claimed it, because no one else does it. Basically, this works for every character, by the way. Because every character has one of these force fights in deep space that forces them to be on their Keyblade glider. And there'll be a tutorial pop-up telling you how to use the Keyblade glider. If we pause, frame perfectly, and then unpause, we can skip that pop-up and save a very, very small amount of time. I'm pretty sure it's frame perfect. Game runs at 60 FPS. I try to time it with the music, but sometimes I don't get it, which tells me it's too precise to just be timed with the music. But I'm going to try for it. Too early. That's unfortunate. Whether you go for that or not, or whether you get it or not, you kind of just want to mash the triangle attack. The hitboxes are weird. Sometimes they don't work. It's fine. Whatever. Just get through the fight. Did I forget to put on Mark of a Hero? I think I forgot to put on Mark of a Hero. That would have helped. Yeah, I forgot to put on Mark of a Hero. You want to put on Mark of a Hero in space before you enter deep space. Because look at that 2 strength boost. Yeah, that would have helped. That's not a huge deal, but you definitely want to make sure you have that on as soon as possible. Certainly for these fights. Alright, you want to dodge roll forward twice. And you want to magnet and wait until everything is caught, ideally. Sometimes the robots like to take their sweet time. Right, and we're kind of just doing Magneras into Magneras into Fire Surge rather. Wish Magnera into Mind Square. And we want to do 2 magnets here because we want to catch that flood. It does mean that our okay, we want to make sure both of these robots are caught in the magnet. And we want to hopefully position that Wing Blade finisher better than I did. It should nuke the entire room. I was a little bit off position, which is why why those floods and that scrapper back towards the other end of the room didn't die. We already hit level 23. Okay, I was worried about nothing. Okay, so menu time. You want to sell a Magnera, and you want to sell anything else you have at bare minimum. Okay, so 0 gravity is extra. So you don't want to sell the Fire Surges, of course. You don't sell the Cura. And you want to hold on to your other Magnera. Anything else is fair game to sell. That Ignite drop is pretty good. And we want 1950 money at the bare minimum. And yeah, if I got like some really good other drops, I could go for 2600 and buy a excuse me, and buy a fourth fire surge rather, but didn't quite work out this round. It's not the end of the world. There's backup for that. Generally speaking, you'll probably have better luck not even trying to go for that unless you like get 5 Auroras in your abounding crystal grind or something crazy like that. Like just go for 1950 and buy your 3 fire surges. And then we're going to go to the 0G room, activate this panel. And you want to try and do these jumps as short as possible. If you almost shortchange yourself like I just did, you can do a swing. And we're going to do some more of that fancy D-Link movement. Over to this chest, which has a fire surge. I'm going to slide and dash onto this platform. No need to revert, we don't need D-Link. And now we enter Meta 2. And, so getting the shot lock reticle onto Meta is like a little trickier than it really should be at the start of this fight. Excuse me, because he's above you. So what I do is as the fight is starting, I'm holding R1 to buffer the shot lock input. I am holding the control stick or the right stick up to move the camera up. And as the shot lock starts, I switch to holding the right stick up because at that point the camera control shifts to that stick because that what controls the reticle, which makes a lot of sense and is a really good design decision. That generally pretty consistently allows me to get a full shot lock off here at the beginning. You're always going to open this way and you're going to hope that most of it hits. You're going to hope that Stitch hits it. And then you kind of just let a second shot lock fly. You hope it kills. That's a pretty good fight. If it doesn't kill, you either go for another shot lock or you go for some fire surges, depending on his positioning. You kind of just have to figure it out. It's another one of those improv things. But ideally, 2 shot locks and he's dead. Yeah, this is the part of the run where, like, you will start to feel the loss of fire boosts if you don't have 3. So, like, if you have only 2 fire boosts even, then you will probably have to do some cleanup at the end of that fight. Which isn't the end of the world. But you will probably, worst case scenario, have to, like, throw in some fire surge, then maybe a shot lock to finish it out. Now doing a bunch of dodge rolls. It's making our way to the, let's call it the Native American camp, actually. We are all about racial sensitivity around here. Racism may be canon in the Kingdom Hearts universe, but it's not canon here. We respect Romani folks in this channel, we respect Native Americans, is all I'm saying. So, you're gonna, I should probably... So that opening is consistent. You just magnet, you thunder, or fire surge rather. Ugh, terror crit brain rot. And those floods will die. And this next wave will spawn, you enter Snow White, and then you will start spamming Bashful. Bashful is the command warp, and it is not working very well right now. It is completely RNG whether or not this command will actually do its job. That was a good end to the fight, though. Yeah, just try not to get hit out of your Bashful and just hope it works. And ideally, once the last ape there sort of gets caught by the Bashful, you will revert to make sure you have a full D-Link coming out of that fight, because we do need to use D-Link for movement. Yeah, that fight is a big RNG check, because it's just a dice roll whether or not an enemy gets affected by the warp. So yeah, it's like a lot of things, you just gotta be able to react to it. As far as I'm aware, there isn't like a limited range to it, so that you can just kind of stay at the edge of the arena and spam it whenever it comes off a cooldown. You're probably going to want to try to pick up D-Link orbs as you go, just to keep it topped off, because they will despawn eventually, and, you know, what good does that do if they're just sitting there? So that's a little bit of nuance to the fight. But the actual strat is pretty simple. After the fight, you're going to come to the menu, hit X to mash through all these abilities leveling up, and you're going to equip the best command deck in all of Birth by Sleep speedrunning, 7 Fire Surges. It's beautiful. Brings a tear to my eye, I tell ya. And if you don't have your D-Link leveled up fully, like I don't, now that I just paused to try and explain something, then you would level it up. How do I back this up now? Probably just surges, right? Yeah, I guess that works. That's good to know, I guess. Yeah, so you would do a full jump, then use the sliding dashes on Terra ordinarily to get over that. Just pretend I did that. Just pretend it was really cool and sexy. So you sort of get into position to Fire Surge into that enemy, such that the Fire Surge breaks the wall, and then you just roll on over to Captain Hook. And take a look at our deck and guess what we're gonna do. I like to dodge off to the side here, because we want to try and be between Hook and the edge of the platform as much as possible. If he guards like that, and I have the ability to do a basic physical attack, I like to at least try to... okay, that was not ideal. You don't want to fall into the water. If you do, the Firestorm finisher is honestly a pretty good option. Yeah, I do get kind of screwed by positioning in this fight. Yeah, that was a pretty good fight. You kind of... Basically, you just spam Surge. There are some nuances. If he does an auto guard and you have the opportunity to interrupt it, or to activate the counter with a physical hit rather than a whole Surge, then you probably should. And you do want all 3 hits of the Fire Surge to connect, so you do generally want to, like, back up in between Surges. Because if you use a Surge right on top of him, you'll usually go past him. Yeah, you generally don't want to fall into the water. If you do, oftentimes you'll be able to get off a full Firestorm finisher, so you can kind of recover it sometimes. Like, that's something I found works for me anyways. But yeah, it's not a terribly complicated strat. If you're not being careful, it is within the realm of possibility that you might die. But it really shouldn't be anything too crazy. But after that, it's just kind of a lot of cutscenes going on. There's like 9 cutscenes in total, from beating Captain Hook to getting to Keyblade Graveyard. It's kind of a lot. You're just coming on over to Keyblade Graveyard, or their Badlands, I guess. Take you to Land of Departure. Then we're skipping some more cutscenes. Bro. Alright. And now we get to play the game again. And final menu of the run. We want to tab down to Lost Memory, put that on, and put over our last slot our Cura, which we want mostly for the attack haste it has. It can also be used to, you know, keep yourself alive. But you do have to be careful about how you use Cura if you're going to try and use it to keep yourself alive, because we do not have Leaf Bracer. And we don't really have a way to get Leaf Bracer, even if we really wanted it. The better option if you need to, like, panic heal is to go into a D-Link, because that can't be interrupted. And also, speaking of timing your dodge rolls, the move in that room is pretty specific. You do want to kind of skirt the edge of those tornadoes in order to get through without getting sucked into any of them. Basically, the way it works is that only one tornado can be aggroed onto you at a time, so the movement that way makes it so that because of their inertia, no tornado has enough time to catch up to you. May take some practice. For me, it's like riding a bike. There is a safer path you can take if you're really having trouble with it. But I find that it's not terribly necessary. Anyways, Ventus 2, full shot lock to open.
Too slow.
You know, mash out the finisher. It probably won't do very much damage. And now we are just going to spam surges. When he teleports away to do like that attack where he slams down with the icicle, I generally find I want to wait just a second before I pop off another fire surge. I have found that if the fire surge hits while he's like in the middle of an attack animation, it tends to cause some problems. I should not have done Firestorm there.
Too slow.
Okay, and I'm gonna have to panic heal here.
See ya.
It's not the end of the world. It's just being a little mean. No, that works, I guess. I wasn't expecting it to kill. Yeah, physical hits, you shouldn't go for them. Like, you shouldn't try to use the Firestorm finisher. Like, you kind of just use your surges. And if you need to cure or use your D-Link to keep yourself alive, you should. And you should use it during that fight, because this fight is a lot less scary. You do want to try and get Ventus towards the edge of the arena, kind of like this, because that makes it a lot easier for entire fire surges to connect. Ventus 2 doesn't have iframes basically ever the way that Ventus 1 does, so just a lot easier to you know, damage him down. This fight is much less dangerous by far. And once he's done, just make sure you're at the edge of the arena here and hold your shot lock button, just in case he does that. If you hear that voice line, you want to use the shot lock immediately. Yeah, finish him. So this final minigame is pretty simple. He will always spawn in the middle of the arena, which is why you want to be at the edge, because the game will save that positioning. And you'll have a little bit of space to react to what he does at the opening. If you hear a voice line, it means he's gonna rush at you, which means you can parry it with a shot lock, and then you can mash X. The speed at which you mash X does actually matter a lot. I mash with 2 fingers. I really let my percussionist training show on this. Yeah, that's basically it. There's a couple different patterns he can do. Okay, I shouldn't have dropped that shot lock. That was a little bit silly. Actually, I almost missed that. You have enough shot lock that as long as you don't totally whiff one, wow, Ventus 2 has been very nice lately. Yeah, and then you don't want to touch the control stick at all. And you want to wait just a beat before you hit X to activate the last word, and that's time. And that is Ventus Beginner. And you do want to skip cutscenes, because if you're trying to get your run verified on speedrun.com, you do need to show this battle report with the in-game time. Yeah, that's about it. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else meaningful I want to say before I, like, you know, cut off the part of this I want to highlight. I guess shout out to Pestilist. Pestilist has done most of the tutorial documentation for this series, and I basically just trying to do a version of what he did in all those videos, and like hopefully it worked. shout out to Rebel for, you know, having the world record in this category. Go watch his run if you're interested in learning the category. Watch Pestilist's run too. I'm 3rd place, so you can watch my run too. You might learn something, I don't know. But yeah, I hope this is helpful to people looking to get into Birth by Sleep speedrunning. Yeah, I think that's about all I got.